Hi, and welcome to Always Bring a Book. I'm Craig. On today's episode, I'm joined by author Yah Yah Schofield. We talk about weird girl fiction and microgenres, why horror feels like it's having a moment in publishing right now, and their journey from writing on Tumblr and Substack to publishing a novel with Saga Press, an imprint of Simon Schuster. I'll play a clip from the audiobook of On Sunday She Picked Flowers, then roll the interview. And as always, stick around afterward for a few book recommendations. Thanks for listening.
Monday she toiled. Wednesday she sold. But on Sundays, clean and holy, Jude picked flowers. Early morning, dandelion yellow sun cresting the trees. The woods, her church, welcomed her, and she tipped her head to the oak tree mothers with their veils of white moss, the deacons of pine and loblolly. Jude breathed, sighed. O holy incense of sedge and yeasty peat! O holy choir of loon and heron, frogs croaking scriptures, while the mockingbirds sang devotion.
Today I am joined by Yah Yah Schofield, author of On Sunday She Picked Flowers and the short story collection Just a Little Snack. Their work has appeared in publications like Faya Literary Magazine and Death in the Mouth. I am so excited that you could join me today, Yah
Hi, thank you. Hearing Just a Little Snack was like, wow.
Yah. Besides the little spiel I gave, is there anything that listeners should know about you as an author?
I'm just Yah Yah. I never know how to put myself into words. I'm Yah Yah Schofield. I used to have like a pretty big Tumblr blog, and that has somehow morphed into me having this book. I love to write a short story. I love to write a little spooky piece of fiction, and yeah.
That's perfect. So let's start there then. Let's start on Sunday She Picked Flowers. For listeners who haven't read it yet, how would you describe the book and what drew you to tell, this particular story for yourself?
So if I had to give like the quick and cute summary, I would say a woman escapes her abusive past, discovers you can't always run from the past while she's in the woods of southern Georgia. If I was being more esoteric and vibey, I would say it's about epigenetic trauma. It's about generational trauma. It's about how you cannot escape the past. It's about healing. It's about healing in different ways that may not look so linear or clean. It's about ghosts, ghouls, and lesbians who shapeshift into bears.
It sounds perfect. I really enjoyed this book, so thanks for writing it.
Yes.
One of the things I really love about this book too is not just the story itself, but it's been on such a journey. It was
Hmm.
originally self-published and then it was re-released by Simon and Schuster's imprint Saga Press to a much wider audience.
Yes.
How did that come to be, and what's it like watching this story kind of grow in that way?
It all begins really on Tumblr. Like very seriously, I read it first in for National Writing Month back in 2016 when I was 17 years old, and I was like, "Oh, this is cute. I'm just gonna post it onto my Tumblr. And, like maybe I'll get a few likes, a few replies. People will be like, "Oh, this is cute." Ah. And I had a friend at the time who had like a very small publishing situation called Oni House Press, and I published through her. She gave me like the first. She was my first like real serious editor, Sandra T. I love you. But yeah, I did it first then, and it was like this is amazing. This is the best I'm gonna get. But then that company went under. I tried publishing it myself. I did okay. I did a pretty decent job. But another friend of mine who I knew from Tumblr, she was like, I actually happened to work for a literary agent, Valentina Sonato. I happened to work for her. Can I pass your manuscript along to her? And I was like, sure, long shot. I didn't really think it would happen, but then it happened. It's very crazy to me because I knew since I was like in first grade that I wanted to be a writer.
Wow.
Like I knew I was like I want to write. I want to write books. Second grade, like I have a little. My parents still have the little like pamphlet I made for like class. I was like, here are the jobs I want. I want to either be a preacher or a poet or a writer. And it was like everyone was like, okay, so like journalism maybe just like a teaching job. But I've always been like out of pure spite and stubbornness, just like no. I'm gonna be an author. Yeah, I'm gonna be an author. I'm gonna get published. Uh, so here we are, out of pure spite determination.
Did you say that you wrote this when you were 17 on like your
Yeah.
Tumblr blog? I guess what's the story of the writing process? Like, has this book changed since that original? I know, and
Oh
like
my
with
God.
editors, like if someone were to like uncover the old Tumblr and compare like that version versus the version that I went down to my local bookstore here in Boston and it was just on the shelf. I just grabbed it. Like what are the what does that journey look like?
So that first version of my Tumblr, Floor Sensitive, is long deleted. Rest in peace. I do still have it in my Google Docs, like the first draft I did. So spooky. I looked at it like last time I like did an edit, a run through. I looked at it and it's first of all it's so different and it's so crazy. Um, so much is different. Like really, Jude is a stronger character. Nomura is a stronger character. Because really, when I was writing it at like 17, I was really writing it with like the brain of like, I'm a super sophisticated 17-year-old. I'm so smart. I'm the coolest, most pretentious kid in the block. Right? Like I was watching NBC Hannibal. I was that kid. Like like please, this was it it was so silly. But it had bones in there and strength in there. And the way it's like transformed from this really like, okay, kid, all right, to something that I could really like look at and go, oh, you have changed a lot as a person, grown a lot as a writer and as a thinker. I just not to like toot my own horn, but like beep, beep.
One thing I found really kind of interesting about I don't know if you want to call it the rollout of this book, but on your
Mhm.
Substack, you have these incredibly detailed liner notes where you post like it really just gives readers a peek behind the curtain in a way that you don't really get from other authors or novels. At least not once.
And I love my liner notes.
Yeah, I loved them too. I literally read all of them, and I was like writing stuff down. I was like, oh,
Stop.
I gotta watch that. I gotta see that, or I gotta read that. And in those notes, you speak about, your upbringing and your identity and your lived experience and how you can't, I think the actual quote is, you can't separate these truths from the novel.
Yeah,
And one, can you talk a little bit about what you mean by that and why it was so important to you to kind of keep those truths so central to the story?
I think there's some authors I think, or just writers and artists in general, who think like you can separate the art from the artist, and you really can't. Because even if I said this story has absolutely nothing to do with me, this has absolutely no reflection on my life, none of these things in this book have happened to me. Like some part of my soul would still be in there, and some part of my experience would still be in there. And with On Sundays, it was a chance to be cathartic, to like say things I've been scared of saying, and to like really deal deep into my own like my psyche and try to figure out like, okay, girl, what is it? And I think a good author always knows like the correct, not the correct, but just like what's good for them, the balance of honesty. Because here's, and this is gonna sound so pretentious and annoying. Oh my god, prepare yourself. But I feel like the more an artist, specifically an author, tries to like separate themselves from their work and from what they've like put on the page, the more it like leaks out. Like you can read between the lines. It's like, okay, you're saying something here. You don't think you're saying something, but I can read something that you're saying. It's like, what was your family like life? So I feel like I'm kind of jumping ahead of that by being like, I'm showing you a little bit of it. I don't need you to think that you know me entirely, but I want people to be able to go, oh, I think Yaya maybe know what she's talking about. Sad face. If that makes any sense at all, I feel like that was the most gobbledygook answer in the world.
No, no, it's perfect. So you mentioned that the book was very different in its kind of first iteration to what's on the
Hmm.
shelves now. Why do you think aspects of it changed? Like, speaking of a little peek behind the curtain, like, was it feedback from early readers or agents wanting you to dial certain aspects back, or like what Why did it change?
So it wasn't quite feedback. My original agent, Sandra, she was like, "This is good. We just need to tighten it and straighten it in some places." And it was mostly just me returning to it again and again. I returned to it in 2018 and in 2020, 2021, and for the last time in 2025. I think it's just like time and kind of, oh my goodness, so woo woo, but it was time and healing.
Mm.
Because between 17 and now at 27, I've been homeless twice with my family. I've been through, I've been through it. Really like struggle years. I got more disabled, like my I'm chronically ill now. I've gone through like full autistic skill regression, and so now I'm just like, okay, this is me writing as like a real ass grown person, and this is me like being able to look at all that I've been through and like see it from just a different angle. Like the hurt isn't gone, the trauma isn't gone, but it's like I think when I was able to come at it now and the way it's different now is like this is just someone new. I'm someone new.
God, I love that. That's a really like beautiful answer. Sorry, I'm finding my bearings. I feel like that was such a nice answer. I was like a little floored there.
Sorry, and I always feel like I'm talking absolute nonsense.
No, no, it's great. I'm so glad the way it turned out that, you know, through struggles and hardships between, initially writing it and now that it turned out the way it did, that it is on bookshelves all
Yeah.
over and, you get to hold it and see it. And, when I was looking at other reviews and interviews and stuff like that, just seeing all these videos of people holding your book and talking about
Oh,
it. I
it's
mean, that
so
has to
crazy.
feel, yeah. So last question on this part, but I really love how in those same liner notes you give this really like beautiful list of people and authors and movies that have influenced you personally and the book. And it's very varied. It's everything from Toni Morrison to Creep 1 and 2, which could not be
Right?
more different of an inspiration, at least to me. When you're writing, how do you think about inspiration or how do you use inspiration, in your writing process?
Um, I usually think like, what did that piece of media make me feel? How did that book make me feel? How did that TV show, movie, piece of art make me feel? So I know with Beloved, with Toni Morrison's Beloved, I was thinking I want that dread. I want like the dread and the pain and like the trauma that like carries through Hill House. Um House of Leaves, I think I mentioned. I was like, I want that dread that creeps through, that kind of terror that like sits on your chest and you're like, oh my god. I'm so scared, like we can't get out of this. Um Thinking about Creep 1 and 2, I was thinking more just like the idea of letting someone into your life and you're like, this person's like normal, right? And then they're not, but you're not normal with them.
Fill me in the bath while I wear a wolf mask. Yes.
Especially with Creep 2 being like, because the first one, he couldn't match his freak. That's fine.
Definitely
The
not. Yeah.
second one, she matched his freak. And that's exactly what I loved. But just like trying to take these feelings, like I said, of dread, of horror, but also like catharsis. Is I think I'm sick. I'm sick and twisted. I felt like I think there's like such moments of like horrible, horrible catharsis and horror. Like something happens and it's like this is objectively horrible. Like this is really, really bad for you. Like the end of summer of Midsummer when she's like doing that big, so creepy, scary smile, and it's like, oh girl, you're in the white supremacist cult. Oh god. But also it's like she's just sitting there like smiling, and I'm like, you know what? This isn't good for her, but good for her. Like, I don't know if this is like okay. All right. Love it. Um, yes. Did that answer your question?
Absolutely. While we're on your Substack, one, I love it. Your writing is so engaging, so please keep writing it. And two, you
Thank
wrote a
you.
piece a while back called "Who Gets to Be a Weird Girl" about the micro genre of weird girl fiction. For listeners who may not know that term, one, what exactly is a micro genre? And two, when people say weird girl fiction, what are they actually talking about?
So microgenre is kind of like it's not like a micro. It's just it's a itty bitty like subsection because we human beings really love like categorizing things. We love being like, okay, this is a fish. This is a goldfish. This is a specific kind of goldfish. So of that, like literary fiction, then beneath literary fiction, you have like moodier fiction, and then beneath that is like weird girl fiction. And weird girl fiction is kind of just like, I don't know, man. It's just it's women being strange. The first ones that come to my mind are Sula by Toni Morrison, as was on the list, and Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata, as a woman who is like behaving as the antithesis to what society expects of her. And of course, like in my essay, I'm like talking all about like how weirdness looks different in like white people versus like people of color. How like as a black woman, I have no choice but to be weird. Like I am black, I am disabled, I am a lesbian. This bitch is weird. Uh, but on top of that weirdness, still choosing to like veer further from society. I love a piece of weird girl fiction. I wish there was more of me in it. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing what I do. But yeah.
You sort of just kind of scratched the surface of what I was going to ask you next. And it's
Oh.
that in that you post that, it's so focused on like white womanhood and
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense since those topics that they're talking about in these books, in these experiences in these books are not uniquely white experiences.
Yeah.
So why do you think publishing and some readers have gravitated to that sort of corner of this genre so heavily?
I think we're all just really in the mood to scream. If that makes sense. Like I feel ever since the pandemic started, 2020, and honestly before that, we've all just been in the like really needing to like freak the hell out and like really have a moment to be like, yeah, how do you live unusually? What would it look like if a woman was like, this is really hard. I'm turning into a dog.
Are you talking about Night Bitch?
I am talking about Night Bitch, but also The
Yeah.
Hunting, which I have on my shelf.
So sticking on genre for a minute, I do want to
Mhm.
kind of zoom out a little bit more broadly and talk about horror as a whole. As someone who reads horror, writes horror, watches horror, horror has been popular and in like the pop culture zeitgeist forever,
Mhm.
but it feels like
Yep.
it's having a really big mainstream moment right now. With films like Sinners winning like a buttload of Oscars, and just this last week, Daniel Krause's Angel Down winning the Pulitzer, the first horror novel to do so in like I think like 20
Which
years.
is crazy.
So, as someone who's actively working in the genre, why do you think horror is resonating so strongly right now?
I think, as I said, with like the word fiction, I think people need the catharsis of like seeing the horror that they may feel inside expressed outside of them. Follow me here, Craig. Craig, follow me. I'm gonna get very esoteric.
But
Um,
I'm ready to go on the journey.
I think there's a specific problem within Western culture that we do not know how to grieve. We don't know how to feel those really big feelings. It's like a huge part of like white American, Protestant culture where it's like we're not gonna like feel it. We're not gonna like think. We're gonna like buckle and button down the hatches and work, 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 and never ever feel what's like actually affecting us. So I think when people gravitate towards horror, they're looking and going, "Oh, when someone dies or they're killed in a crazy fashion, I'm allowed to scream about it. When someone like transgresses upon my body, in the case of like, um, I saw the devil or I spit on your grave, like if someone transgresses against my body or the body of someone I love, kind of losing my shit might make sense. I think it's people like they're going, this is what's inside of me. This is what I've always been feeling. Here's this character reacting how I wish I could react. Here's this person going, wait, this is really, really scary. Life is really, really scary. Why are we all pretending like it's so normal? Like, guys, cops can just shoot us. Cops can just shoot us down, and there's always something watching us. There's always like AI, or there's always like a flock camera. Like, we're being surveilled always, and we're always being like policed. How can you not freak out? So then
Mm.
turning to fiction that's like, yeah, that is scary.
Yeah, it feels like horror, whether it's, literature or film or otherwise, it does feel like a safe way to explore these feelings that we're all experiencing on a day to day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is scary, it is horrifying, but I'm in the safety of my own home watching a movie, or I'm,
Right.
lying down reading this book. So it's
Like
almost like you're
this is
processing those feelings in a much safer way.
like you're stepping away from it. Exactly.
Well, I'm a huge horror fan as well, so I'm hoping that this moment becomes doesn't go away. So
No, like please, everyone get more scared.
yeah. Of course, on Sundays, She Picked Flowers is out in the world, so congratulations on that. But what can fans of your work expect next from you?
So I'm on a little break because I'm a little bit burnt out. But my next piece I'm hoping is to be something kind of inspired by Grey Gardens. Like if Grey Gardens and Flowers in the Attic had a baby, I described it to my agent as imagine if you like lived through the events of Flowers in the Attic and you still had to come down and eat breakfast with your mom. So that's what I'm trying to aim for. I'm also trying to do some more short stories. I've been out of practice. I need to get back onto my short story bag. Yeah, maybe more Substack articles, maybe like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But I'm definitely like, I need 2 seconds to let my brain cool down.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Well, that's all I have. So I really appreciate you taking the time today and dealing with tech issues to make this work. So thank you so much. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thanks for listening to that episode, everyone. And if you haven't read Yah Yah's incredible novel yet, go grab a copy at your local bookstore. So every once in a while, a book comes out that feels completely unavoidable. You see it in huge stacks at your bookstore, all over social media, interviews on late night shows. Right now, that book is definitely Yesteryear by Carol Claire Burke. So after a couple of people had recommended this to me, I finally joined the bandwagon and I couldn't put it down. I think I read this book in like 2 days. Since so many people are reading it right now, I won't spoil anything, but the premise is really fun. A trad wife influencer named Natalie suddenly wakes up in 1855 and is now living in the reality behind the kind of cosplay lifestyle she's been performing online for, her many followers on Instagram. The novel moves between timelines, which is a thing I love in books, and it covers so many topics. So this book could really be for kind of anyone, honestly. It's a critique of performance and gender roles in both modern society, but also in like a historical sense. It also digs into religion, surveillance, politics, abusive relationships. Like this book really has it all. I wouldn't say this is, the best book I've ever read or even my favorite of the year, honestly, but it's a genuine page turner. There's something just fun about reading one of these. Everyone you know is reading it. Everyone's talking about it, books like while the conversation is happening. The second I finished it, I texted my friend, like, do you think this? Like, do you think, like, when did you think that happened? Like, which is just a fun thing about, the kind of communal aspect of reading. So again, I won't go too much more into it just because I know a lot of you are probably reading this right now, but that's my recommendation for this week. I'm also so excited about some upcoming interviews I've got lined up. Next up is one of my favorite writers, Stephen Rowley, author of The Guncle, The Celebrants, and a ton more. He has a new novel that just came out titled Take Me With You. So we'll be talking about that, his writing, and just, whatever I guess comes up. So follow along on Instagram at Always Bring a Book Podcast to see when that episode drops and get reading recs between episodes. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, don't forget to bring a book.